All right. Welcome back to another episode of Guided by the Unconscious.
First, it's a crazy day.
It's a crazy day.
You hear the thunder, and, well, you can't hear the lightning, but if you can hear the thunder, it's just a special guest.
Yes. There might be some type of siren that goes off, too. We're not really sure.
And we're not listening if it's like a evacuate type of thing, so.
Yes, because this is way more important.
Facts.
than evacuating for our safety. I went to St. Croix, a couple of weeks ago, and living on the islands, I thought there would be a little bit more consciousness about plastic, but yet I was very surprised that almost every single place had plastic bags and plastic straws. And then even on on the West Coast, you go to California, yes, there are some towns that do have paper straws, or they just completely bans the plastic straw, but then you go to the next town and they have plastic straws. And it's the same thing here in the Jersey Shore, where it's just if you're a coastal city, you should probably have paper straws opposed to plastic. But I think this whole ban thing is really fucking stupid. If you ban something, it's banned. Why are we trying to make some type of there. Yeah, why are we trying to make some type of solution for a straw? A straw.
It's literally... So what doesn't make sense to me is, I will be honest. I hate paper straws.
Yeah.
I hate
within, half of your drink, it's dissolving in your mouth.
It's gross.
It's the lollipops, the dum-dums, after you get to a certain point, you're just eating the stick. That's the straw.
You're eating paper, and then it just I understand the logic behind wanting to ban plastic, but think of a better alternative. There's a place, it was a restaurant, bar, grill type place near the shore, and it wasn't a paper straw, but it was an easy, what does he call it? Decomposable?
Yeah.
Straw.
Okay.
So it looked grainy, but it acted like a plastic straw, and it was perfect because then when it goes to be either recycled or into the dump, it's biodegradable. It can easily be disintegrated. Why don't we use that?
So I saw some of these disposable straws are actually dipped in these chemicals to keep the structure so they don't decompose while you're drinking.
I'm loving those things too.
So that just leads to other things. Why is that our solution to make a straw in a different material than opposed to just fixing the cup itself? Why doesn't Starbucks just include some even making a straw inside, so even if you have to go back, at least it's a straw structure opposed to getting blocked with ice or whatever.
Agreed. And then when they did if we took this out, the old cups kind of look like those cups. Yeah, so you could just poke it into the top. So you get rid of the plastic straw, right? Even though they still offer plastic straws. But anyway, besides the point. Then they create this little lip so that you can just, which is more plastic than the original top.
Right. So it doesn't make any sense. Everyone's we need to reduce the plastic, but I just see people just molding plastic in different ways. It doesn't that doesn't solve the issue. It was the same thing with styrofoam. I remember styrofoam was such a big deal. You cannot have styrofoam.
Really?
And now it's I see it coming back because I just don't.
They banned it or
yeah, it was just because it's you cannot. It's not good for the environment. It does not. It doesn't disintegrate. You can't burn it or anything. It's forever there.
Yet every time plastic. You take out, it's in a styrofoam container.
It's in a styrofoam container. So and it's the same thing with plastic. And then if you're going to ban something, why don't you just make a decree? Now we don't have any plastic bags in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And after probably the first few months, people were just oh, he's fucking I forget my bag here and there. But after a while,
I still forget. But I'll just buy it.
I do too.
what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, I'll just get a new one.
So why can't we just use that same initiative for the straws? Like, you have your own straw. Like,
just figure it
there's
out.
tons of companies and like other water bottles that already come with like this. Obviously, the straw does not come with this cup. Like,
I was gonna ask you where did that straw come from?
Yeah, it was from my water bottle at work. Okay. Because they forgot to give me a straw, and I was like okay with it though, because I was like, I'll just use this straw. Yeah, the straw's a straw.
Yeah. Unless it's
and like I know there's people that like they have like the foldable straws and you can put them on your keychains and stuff, so you just always have a reusable straw. Like, why don't you just do that for anything else? Like, most of the time, like, you don't really need a straw.
No, like, I don't need that.
No
at all, because there's a spout or whatever you want to call it.
I don't understand why. And it's like there's some places too that's like ask for a straw, but it's just
then
like
you feel like that guy. And you're like, can I have a straw? And everyone's like,
yeah. You want to kill a sea turtle today? Like,
no, and they're like, never mind. I don't want one now.
No, and I feel like it's not as proactive as it should. It's because like we don't see the issues physically, so no
out of sight, out of mind type of thing. They don't know.
There's no harm to it. So like we're just gonna keep doing the straws. But I think it just goes along with like anything that's plastic when it comes to bags,
I don't think
straws.
It's like I really don't. What I think it was the documentary Nature or Earth that's on Netflix. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about the plastic straws, and they said that just the straws are like 0.03% of the plastic problem. Like everything else is like bigger things that come in plastic. Like the water bottles, or anyone who gets something on Amazon. Let's say you get like a big package. It comes with a bunch of plastic, whether that's the filler, like those things that you pop, those things, the plastic surroundings of the box, the inside of the box, the twist top, like there's billions of those everywhere.
So I talked to my brother and my sister-in-law lived in Seattle for 6 or 7 years. Mm-hmm. Seattle, they have like a weird way of like disposing plastics. Like they're very specific. So I feel like we also were not taught on the different plastics through our generations. Like there was like plastic. If you go on the bottom of the cup, you'll see like some type of circle with like a number inside of it.
It's like a triangle.
Well, I think that's the recycling thing. Oh. But there's like little grades in the plastic that tell you what type of plastic it is, and like out of the there's 7 plastics, only 2 of them are actually reusable. So in Seattle, if you do this, like you have to clean out all your plastic. You have to wash it and everything, which I think you probably should anyway. Yeah. I don't really that much.
Like that, if there's like I get to the bottom, I'm just throwing it out.
Right, you're just throwing it out. You're not gonna rinse out like a little drips of coffee. Yeah. But Seattle, like they're very strict. Like you have to rinse everything out, and it has to be. I'm not entirely sure. He didn't get specific on it, but it was like you have to have like these specific plastics, and if they find like because there was like a conveyor belt that separates everything there, so it weighs whatever the plastic is to dispose of it. And so I'm telling him, I was like, yeah, like I actually started somehow like reducing my plastic, and I get those like lemonade bottles, those big like the light nature lemonades, nature lemonade or whatever. And those little plastic pieces that you were talking about before that you get like in your packaging, or like if you get like a food, some type of food packaging that's wrapped in plastic or something, like I shove it in that bottle. And I'm like condensing all the plastic down in that, opposed to just throwing it in the trash. And I'm telling this to my brother, and then he explains to me like what Seattle does, and he was like, I don't think what you're doing is actually helping anybody, because now you're taking all these different plastics and shoving it into one thing of plastic. And then I was like, so it's so crazy, because like in my head I was like, oh, like I'm condensing it, but yet in the end I'm probably just making like a plastic bomb, like I'm like making some type of something that's like like holding all this plastic, and then one day it'll pop, and then I have all this plastic around. But like, how is that any different? Because me thinking of like, oh, this plastic's gonna stay condensed in this sturdy bottle, or at least like it'll stay in the bottle, and the whatever happens to the bottle, whatever. But it's just like crazy. Like nobody goes goes through this or educates you on the different types of plastics, but yet
never.
we use it every day.
More than you even think.
Right.
In that documentary, they went through like a normal person's day and they calculated the amount of pounds or the amount of items, I can't remember, that were plastic, and the person was just like, even me, I was looking at it like, holy shit.
It's disgusting.
I didn't know that even some things that are woven with plastic, you know what I mean? Like, it may not be 100% plastic like a cup or something, but whether that was pieces of clothing, certain clothings are made with like plastics. Like, it's
well, I know a
crazy.
lot of people are doing that as they're like recycling the plastic. They'll put it in clothing. I know a lot of repackaging shirts even say this is used with reusable plastics or products. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you just don't realize what we're doing at all. But yeah, it's just like our day to day. We have no, because we don't see that dirty, messy back end side. Like, we're not at those.
I don't know what the plants.
The plants, like whatever garbage disposal this goes to. Yeah. I've seen videos too where people are like, you see the garbage cans, and it's like trash on one side, plastic on the other, but you lift the lid, it's all the same. It's all the same.
Well, like, I
like,
got
why
annoyed. Yeah, why is it the point?
Why
you waste time and money.
It's just like a mental, like, I did my good deed for the day, but yet it's just, again, just shows, like, we don't really care.
No. And even, like, my complex that I live in, when we moved in, there's a garbage, like a dumpster, then behind the dumpster are, like, parking spots, and then there's another dumpster at the end. And I thought the one at the end was recycled because it, like, looked like a different type of garbage bin.
It was a green trash can.
Yeah, I was just like, that one looks different than that one, so that must be recycled, and, like, I just put the trash in there. So I remember, I don't know if I walked past it or I drove past it, and I'm like, nowhere on it says recycle at all. And then I look, and there's it's just garbage trash in the inside. So I'm like, wait, what? So then I go to the other one, and I'm like, this is the same thing too. And then I think we asked our landlord, and I was just like, is there, like, do we separate? Is there recycle or anything? She's like, no, they don't do that here. And I was like,
right.
Okay.
That's not.
And I feel bad. Like, I don't know where to. I mean, I guess you could take it to, like, a recycle plant. I don't know.
I really wouldn't even know. Because if you go to, like, the recycling centers, like, it's not plastic. You have mulch and dirt and
big,
like,
metal
scraps of wood and metal.
So I don't even know where to take it.
Like, it's not even plastic.
Yeah. So I'm now,
like, cardboard. Like, you go there with cardboard, but plastic, no.
I wouldn't know where to go.
If there was a place, we should open up, like, a plastic plant site. Yeah, but then what would you do with the plastic? Like, you grow gardens out of it? Like, I know people use, like, the old, like, what you put, like, your strawberries and blueberries that come in. Like, those are, like, really good, like, planter boxes and stuff. Like, I know people use, like, water bottles as, like, greenhouses.
Oh,
like, you can really only use that for so
much. And, like, not everything that's plastic. You know what I mean? Like, cups or bottles I get because you can use the bottom, but, like, other things, what would you repurpose them as? And you know, the first thing is like, oh, you would just burn it. But that's so much worse. The amount of carcinogens that go right into the air and is what everyone breathes, and it doesn't help the ozone layer at all.
Also, like, that's probably what's killing the
ozone 100%.
layer.
Yeah, it doesn't, definitely doesn't help it. So it's just like, I don't, like, there's got to be a way to create a material that isn't going to further harm the planet and still be convenient-ish. It doesn't have to be very convenient, but, like, we can send a man to the moon, like, you can make that.
Right.
You can do that.
We could figure out some simplistic solution for the straws and the bags.
Yeah. And I feel like it's because it's one.
It drives me crazy. Like, it drives me crazy.
Because we know that there's a solution.
Right.
But there's nothing.
The solution is just, let's get rid of it. But yet that would be, like, just as chaotic as, like, the internet going down.
Oh,
be like,
yes.
What? I can't have my plastic cup for my coffee from Starbucks?
Yeah.
Like, oh, no.
Exactly.
Like,
and it's like, it makes no sense because, all right, we don't have plastic bags in New Jersey. But then Grant and I went to Florida for baptism, and we go to Wawa, and like we got a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, oh, I forgot a bag, and the lady's like, oh, we have one, and I forgot because like they have plastic bags there. So like we obviously used the plastic bag. We had a shit ton of stuff, but it doesn't make sense that like, okay, we're the United States. We're supposed to be a country. Well, we are.
We should all be on the same page.
Yeah. Why can I go here and it's not okay, but here is okay, but here it's partially okay? And like, I feel like Europe, when they ban something, it is across the board.
It's across. Well, that's because we are not united.
No,
we're not.
We're just the
we're
states.
All
united.
No,
states.
We're just states. We all have our own laws, our own opinions. By like each little town, it's not even by state. Like one town will definitely declare something more than the other town, and then that town will have to abide by those laws when you go cross over. Like it's just
too much confusion.
It's so messy. But I'm like, can we just like all get on the same page with one fucking thing? Like, but no, we all have our opinions on every little thing. If we get rid of the straws, what else is next? What else are we gonna get rid of? Like
that's
humanity.
So
humanity is what's gonna get rid of. Like, we're all doomed
on that track. But yeah, it just is confusing too. Like, it makes no sense. If it was really that big of an issue, you would think, not that it isn't an issue, but they don't make it seem urgent because over here they can do it, over here they can't do it, down there it's happening. Like,
right. And like, I get it too, like the straw thing, like, because I think the more the draw to it is the sea turtles, like it's affecting like our oceans and things like that. And I love so you would think like at least the coasts would be more effective on this than anything than the Midlands.
Nope.
Midwest
and we went to the beach because our Airbnb was like a block away from the beach, and we went to a restaurant, and our drinks were served with plastic straws. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I almost felt bad. I'm like, I don't want to drink out of this.
Right. There are moments where I'm like, I don't want. Cause I think of this because like I used to be a server. Like how someone would hand you a drink.
Yeah,
they hold it like this. Yeah, so like I don't want to put my so that's where a straw would come in. But then again, like, okay, if I know that and that's a me thing, like I don't like how someone touches my like I'm gonna bring a straw then with me.
Yes.
So I know it's like kind of crazy, like to pull out
but
a straw.
You're being more proactive. You know what I mean? Like you're not expecting the other person to abide by you. This is your opinion, and you're gonna
quick story. So my granddad, we went to I think it was like a Father's Day brunch at this like really nice restaurant over in Fairhaven, and very small restaurant, but it was busy because it was like a fixed meal. Like we had to make reservations in advance. But we took my granddad and my family. There was like 7 of us, and the kitchen like was being so like quick with everything that they didn't have enough silverware to reset the table for our main meal. So my grandfather didn't have like a fork or a knife, and he was like, that's okay. And Lee just pulls out a fork and a knife, and I'm like, that's a fucking Boy Scout, always prepared. Like, are you, that is a military man thing. Like, I wish, like, that is like what I deem, and if my participation is me pulling out a straw to save my day, like, why not? Like, why?
Instead of
like, why
expecting the other person, because you know there's people, and that's how majority.
Even
of
though you're going to a restaurant where
well,
you expect to have the silverware,
but like just like maybe the straw thing makes more sense.
That's still my favorite memory of him too.
So
like
cute,
he just like Lily just pulls out. I was like, I'm okay. Like ready for it, and I was like, that's amazing.
Okay,
like,
Mary Poppins. What else you got in that pocket?
The independency in that is just like
always be prepared.
Yes.
That's what my dad says for some reason.
Yeah, always. Was he a Boy Scout?
No, he was a Marine, though.
A Marine. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Marine. Yeah, I mean, military man. Like, you always have to be prepared. Always stay on your toes. But, no, there's definitely... It's just, like, it's crazy. Like, I wish I wish there was more of a solution for this.
And cohesiveness. Like, let's all be on the same...
Right.
Yeah, like, it's not you versus you. Like, it's us versus the problem.
Right. Yeah, we're all in this together, but yet, because it doesn't affect you as much, like, it's not my problem.
Yeah,
but yet, like, no, like, we all live on the same rock that's floating in the fucking middle of black air. Matter, or whatever the hell's around us. Like, you know, we are all in this. Like, we could all die with a meteor impact.
Yeah.
But yet,
the meteor won't be like, oh, she's a good person. You're not. Like, let me go to... No, we're going
to hit Texas... But the rest of the state's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, we're all in this together. The unity needs to come and form together. And if that's little action, like, if we could just see that unity just in the smallest little thing, like plastic straws.
Yeah.
Like, what
really
else do you
not
think we
that-
would all be able to conquer together?
We could
Let's
accomplish
relax.
way more, but unfortunately, I think many people let their egos get in the way.
Right.
It's me. Okay, like be a little selfless
Mm-hmm.
and stop thinking about yourself, because you're not the only person in this world, and start thinking about how there's power in numbers. Like, we can do a lot as humans. We can do a lot more than we think we can, but we're just so divided.
So divided.
So, like, obviously we're not going to get shit done.
No.
Science, like A plus B. Well, that's math, but you know what I mean.
Math is...
Math turned into science
Yeah,
at
listen,
some
like,
point,
you-
and I was
you
not
use
happy
math
about
in
that.
science.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
Yeah,
very true, very
yeah.
true. But yeah, as I sip on my straw.
I know, and you were like about to grill me too, and I was like, got no straw. It is a little upsetting where you can't
thought.
bite on it.
Yeah, I
Like,
do
but
that.
like,
It's a
like,
thing.
That's fine too. Like, that's okay. But no, I think it is something that it's just like a little thing. It just bothers me.
I feel.
And
Trust me,
I
feel
need
you.
to vent about that.
This is
This
why.
the space. This
Yes,
is a safe space.
You say whatever you need to say, okay? But yeah, not yesterday. What day was it? Wednesday? Yes. I finally watched the Barbie movie.
Okay.
It was very cute, I will say. It was like, so the beginning of it was kind of like, I don't want to say boring to me, because it wasn't boring, but it was just like her or Barbie in the Barbie world for a while, and her doing her day-to-day thing, and I'm just like, okay,
Like
when is this gonna take off? It ended up taking off, and it was actually very, very good to see, because I wasn't a Barbie girl as a kid. I think I had Barbies, but like, I wasn't a Barbie girl. I obviously knew what Barbie was. Like,
I was a Barbie girl.
yeah, I just like, I don't know what I played with. Transformers.
You were lifting
'Cause I
weights
love-
at an early age.
My dad made me hold sheetrock, and I'm like, okay. I'm like 5 years old, but yeah. So when I watched it, I didn't know as much as like a Barbie lover would, until I found out later that a lot of the houses, the cars, every outfit she wore, other women, like other Barbies wore, they were very factual. So she actually had that car. She had that home. President Barbie actually looked like that, like all these different things, which was nice to see because it showed inclusivity.
Right.
And I think at the end, I really want to try and get Grant to watch it, because he thinks it's like a Barbie doll
It's a girl movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the message behind it was way more than what I thought it was, and I think it was really good.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people like took the Barbie name to a feminine stance. Like, just because it's a Barbie movie, it's a girl movie.
Yeah.
Which, like, there definitely is a higher percentage of women who
course,
go to see
yeah.
it, because, like,
But it's not
I was a Barbie girl. Like, so
Mhm.
I definitely, like, I love watching, like, the history of Barbie, seeing what happens, how they incorporated it in the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the movie, but I saw highlights and, like, what they did and
Yeah.
background scenes of what was put into it. But, like, as the movie like led up to the premiere and then even on, I've noticed so many companies doing these collaborations with Barbie. Even if it wasn't with Barbie, they just associated themselves. And there's a thing that goes around, it's called trend jacking, where you basically take your business and exploit a trend and use it towards your business and get services
benefit.
for your benefit. Yeah. So there's like an example of like a sandwich shop. They made this like pink sauce that you could add to any of their sandwiches, and it would like just say like you got the Barbie special. They are not associated with the Barbie movie whatsoever, but yet they exploited the movie for their own benefit. And now they're reaching a demographic that they probably wouldn't have gotten from their sandwich shop, just so they could try the sauce because it has the Barbie name to it.
Because it's pink.
Because it's pink. Yeah, like everything that was associated is pink.
Everywhere has been like pink,
Right.
like companies, stores,
Like you were just at like Progressive just did like a collaboration with Barbie.
It was the dumbest commercial. Like, I think it was on, I don't know what it was on, but it was on TV, obviously. And it like, well, no shit, didn't know it was on TV.
What is
It
this
was on the
TV you
Telegram.
speak of?
So, and it's like the like Flo's on there, and like whatever other agents are on there, and they're in front of Barbie's dream house, the one that's in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Barbie's not in it. It doesn't say, they don't say Barbie once, because I wonder if it's like now patented.
Well,
right?
Barbie's definitely already like a copyright
like
name.
The name,
you can't, like
it.
you would, if
Yeah.
you used it, you would have to have some type of association you'd have to have some type of pay right or association to it for you to be able to use the name.
That makes sense.
Like you could say it, but you can't say, like, you can't use the logo, you can't, you can't do any of that.
Because they didn't mention Barbie at all, and it was like, I have a client who just bought insurance for what she calls her dream home, and it's like Barbie's dream house.
So they were associating the movie too. So so they took a trend,
progressive, like
jacked it, and now they're using it for their benefit. So they might be using that to hit a female demographic too, to say like, okay, well, progressive. Watches out for your dream home. So there are pros and cons to trend jacking. Like, I think there is definitely a way where on a pro where it kind of cultivates a massive social media engagement. To, like I said, like to a demographic that you might not originally associate yourself with.
Yes.
I think that's a really good way to look at it if you do want to use trend jacking. Another one was a way to expand your reach. So if you're a new business, like a clothing brand or something that you want to try and associate yourself, like you put like all pink outfits on or whatever, and then just like associate yourself somehow with the Barbie movie.
Yes.
But again, like it might not go for your message.
Yeah, like
what you
or
are.
the you said it was the sub shop.
Yeah, sub shop. Like obviously, like a sub shop's not going to be a Barbie like associated to a Barbie movie. They just took and made their own sauce, and just got famous on TikTok just from the sauce. It's crazy.
Even there was a bagel shop. I don't know if it was local or not. I saw it on Instagram.
Pink bagels.
Pink bagels.
Yeah. So they just like took the color. And it's like crazy too. You think like pink is this. I wore pink a dress to work the other day. And they're like, oh, you're going to go see the Barbie movie? Why is
pink was a color before Barbie ever was a thing.
Right. Why are you associating my pink dress with the Barbie movie? Like, I'm not going to go see Barbie. Like, I'm just wearing a dress. Yeah. So there are pros and cons. The cons would be it can harm your brand's reputation just because it's not following your messaging. And, like, obviously messaging in your brand is so important. Yeah. Like, you might be saying one thing and then you just decide to just jump on this bandwagon because you see everybody else doing it, but it might not coincide with what you're doing.
Yeah, and
to a whole brand's extent.
Yes, yeah. And most people, I say most because not all, aren't dumb when they see a random company and then doing something that's out of their norm.
Right.
And then you're like, I mean, obviously they can reach a different demographic and cool, great, whatever, but it's like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Like a pink bagel. Okay. You're just a bagel store, but like you're a bagel store.
And I'm using Barbie just because that's the most recent thing that I saw.
Yeah.
It blew.
I literally see pink everywhere.
It blew up. There's a video that went around, and because people are noticing it, they're like, oh my god, like I didn't know they did a collaboration with Barbie. So this guy went to like a Rite Aid and was like, oh my god, Pepto-Bismol did a collaboration with Barbie. Oh my god, this pink dumpster. I didn't know this dumpster did a collaboration with Barbie, and just like literally picked random pink objects around.
Because that's what it sounds like.
Because that's literally what's happening. It's just like the companies are taking it to their advantage to get the minimalist effort out out of it. So just get a new reach, new engagement, a new broader audience. But it's not guaranteed you're going to keep that audience. Because say this audience is 17-year-old girls. They're going to follow your shop for like a day.
Yeah, because it was
trendy.
And
then realize like, okay, wait, this isn't your message. This doesn't really follow through with what you do. Like, you're not a Barbie girl. Like, you're not all pink all the time. Maybe that's something I really like and want. But just because like you have a brand 2 months later and now you're going back to like your original messaging that, you know, why you started this business, it might not follow a line with what I want to do anymore. So now I'm going to unfollow you. Yeah. So now you're getting all of these followers.
It's like just to like fake followers, but it reminds me of high school where it's like there's always a person who's going to try and fit in and do whatever it takes. If she's got this type of clothes, I'm going to get that.
It's a yes man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then eventually that is not you. So it's going to be revealed. Either you're going to stop doing it or people are going to see it. Like you're just trying to appease the trends.
Right. And I like that example.
That's what it always reminds me of.
Yeah, it was like everyone was like the juicy sweatpants.
Oh my
Everybody
God.
had to have the juicy. Everybody had to have like a North Face jacket. Everyone had to have
Abercrombie and Hollister.
The Hollister. Yeah. I was poor, so my mom, like, when Uggs were a thing, like, I hated Uggs, but I was like, I need to have an Uggs because all my friends had Uggs. So my mom got me, like, the bear claws.
You say from Famous Footwear.
Yeah, they're like $30. They were the most comfortable thing ever. I wore them all the time. Yeah. But it's just like those little things. Like, why do you have to jump on a bandwagon because everybody else? Those are like formative years. So it's just like, if you don't have that, like, you don't fit in.
Yes.
But I feel like that's how these companies feel when they're doing this, like, trend jacking.
Yeah.
Like,
it looks like it. It's like, why are you trying to be like everyone else?
Stop it.
Stand out.
Yeah.
Be your
Stand out. Be your own. Stick with your message. Unless, like, it really does coincide. If you're, like, really into...
Yeah. If you really love Barbie or, like, really stand by that trend from the get... for the jump, like, obviously then that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But if you're a insurance company,
right,
and you're trying to jump on the Barbie, it makes no sense. You're two different worlds.
Yeah, if you're a company and seeing this opportunity to capitalize on it and exploit this new role, this new trend that's coming on, like, just really think it through before you tarnish your name.
Yeah,
because that could get really messy.
And embarrassing.
And it is embarrassing, right? There are some things, like, I know, like, Game of Thrones, like, a lot of companies use Game of Thrones.
Oh, my
like,
God.
Winter is coming. Like, how many times did we see that everywhere? Like, even though it's not any type of association to GOT.
No.
Like, just...
Or, like, the I think it was a Super Bowl commercial. It was the actual seat, like, the throne that has, like, all, is it swords or something?
Yeah.
It was made out of, oh, no, it was in a store. They made, you know, when the Super Bowl comes and, like, Pepsi or Coke or whoever it is, I don't really know, or beer company, in the store, they make these, like...
The displays.
Things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the display was literally the throne, but it was made out of, like, the cardboard of, let's say it was Pepsi. Pepsi's bottles, or whatever you want to call it, like, the outside part. And I'm like, that's Game of Thrones.
That's actually kind of cool.
It looked cool, like... you know, making and crafting. Yeah. But I was like, how does that make any sense?
No, it doesn't make any sense.
You're a beverage company. This is a show.
It's just to reach a demographic that they might not have associated themselves with to try and get new clients. Like, maybe you weren't really a Pepsi drinker to begin with, but it's like, I feel like that's the mindset. Like, you think they're 100%. In, like, oh, I didn't drink Pepsi, but because they agree with Game of Thrones, like, I gotta drink this Pepsi now. Now I'm a Pepsi lover. It doesn't work like that.
No.
Maybe for some people, your IQ's like under 50, but like you can't.
It's non-existent.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
I know people are like collectibles, so like people like might collect it. Like,
oh yeah, I feel like that's different.
Besides that, like I really don't see like the appeal. I get it. Like on a marketing standpoint, I do get it, but like as a customer,
no,
I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
That thunder is crazy. I wonder if they can hear it. I don't know. But I hear it. But no, I agree.
It's like rumbling outside.
Yeah. It sounds like my stomach when I get hungry.
Are you hungry? Is that you?
No, I just douse that in a cake pop.
But yeah, no. So if you are thinking about it,
just don't. It's
or,
also done. Not done, but like I feel like the peak of Barbie, it already happened.
Yes, and if you do want to do it, like you have to be like one of the first ones. Like don't wait until like a month goes by and you're like I gotta do this. Like always be that first
trend's
jump.
Done.
Yeah, it's always good to be like the first 10.
Yes,
like you want
and
to
not
be ahead
the
of
last
the game.
200.
Right, like you want people to follow you. Like you want them to mimic what you're doing.
Agreed.
Like, if someone mimics you, then you're doing something right. Like, right, like that's, I feel like that's the...
Preach.
Right, that's what you want.
Yeah.
So...
You're the trendsetter.
You're the trendsetter. So now going into something a little bit more...
Traumatizing.
Traumatizing. So we've all had moments. So the last episode we kind of talked about like the crazy things that happen in our jobs. This is crazy stuff that's happened to us in school, more on the traumatizing side, because I mean school as a whole was traumatizing from pre-K
it's not a
to
fun
12th
time.
grade.
Like you may have fun times, but collectively
no, it's not fun. They're bullied. I got bullied a lot, name called a lot. Like I
hate that.
I was a very easy target. But we do want to talk about some traumatizing moments that happened to us in school. So, because maybe you might be going through it right now or can relate to it, that this has happened to you before. But I really want to know what traumatized you in school, Danielle.
So I didn't. I mean, fortunately, I did not get bullied. Like bullied in school. Mm-hmm. I genuinely think it was because I looked aggressive. Like I don't know. It's just my resting
your demeanor.
Face. Yeah. But I think what really, what's the word? Really changed me or molded me was when I moved from New Brunswick into Manalapan.
Okay.
Now, they're culture shocks. Like, they're totally different.
Very different.
I went to a private, small Catholic school in New Brunswick. There was one classroom per grade, and in each classroom, there was about 10 to 15 kids that I went to kindergarten, first, second. We all were in the same classroom every year. Like, so you're all close. You almost feel like they're cousins because, like, you know their parents, they know your parents. Like, I liked the community that we had because it was a very, 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 very small school, and that's all I knew in life was that world because I'd never gone to a different school. So from going there, and I mind you, like, we would sit in one classroom all day. The teacher taught every subject except for religion class because none came in. But we had, like, our one desk, you know, the desks that have the bottoms you could put your, like...
the little cubbies in the desk, yeah.
So that was our desk for the entire year. We didn't switch classes. We didn't do anything. And then I moved to the suburbs, which one was crazy. They were allowed to play in the streets. I was like, Mom, am I allowed to play in the streets? She's like, yeah, you could play here now in the streets. And just like a different world. But when I went into school, I remember my first day, and my neighbor was actually the same age as me. Not the same class, but like she knew where everything was. So I'm like, thank God I have someone, because that I think would have been very tough for me. You needed someone to guide you. Yeah. So she's like, this is your classroom, you know, this is your locker.
Sweet.
She was very sweet. And I'm like, I don't know how to use a locker. Like, because they didn't have lockers in our old school. I never used my locker. I had every book in my backpack. Every book. I was that kid.
You were a turtle kid.
I was like hauling everything. But I think what traumatized me, speaking of the whole Uggs and Abercrombie and things like that, I never felt like I needed to fit in because in Catholic school, that wasn't really, no one cared. We all were I didn't grow up dirt
uniform?
poor.
Like you had to wear...
Yeah, it was uniform.
So I think that helped.
And then we had dress down days, which were fun. And crazy. Wild. But it was like, it wasn't materialistic there. So I never really had to worry about what I had or didn't have. I didn't grow up dirt poor.
I think that is more like a middle school, high school thing.
What you wear, right? Yeah. So I'm like, no one really cared. That wasn't a main thing that people looked at. Then I moved to Manalapan, and everyone has Abercrombie. They have like the Hollister shirt. They have like the really puffy jacket with the fur on it. They had the Ugg boots. There were a certain type of jeans. I just can't remember what the jeans were. They had the Juicy track, set and all this stuff, or the Juicy bag that had like Juicy on it and all that stuff. And I didn't even know, to be honest, I didn't even know what it was.
No, I didn't either.
Because when we shopped for clothes, we shopped at Shoppers World. Like, we didn't shop in the mall. We didn't even shop at Target. Like, that wasn't a thing. So I had no clue what that was. So you almost feel like less than already because you don't know what everyone else knows or everything. And I remember asking my mom for a Hollister shirt. And she didn't know the price ranges, so she's like, where's the store?
I love the stories of parents, like, walking into
God.
Abercrombie and Hollister.
They're
They're like, why is it so dark in here? And
smell.
They're like, what? $58?
It was like $65 for this top. And my mom, and now I understand.
Parents are actually
buying wardrobes.
Yeah.
Not just one shirt. And I understand now as an adult why she didn't buy that for me, because that's fucking ridiculous. And she was like, no, like, we can't do that. I never, like, made them feel bad about that decision or anything. Mm-hmm. But inside I was like, I really want that shirt. Mm-hmm. Did I really want it for the style? No. I wanted it because everyone else was wearing it.
Right.
And I remember for Christmas, my aunt actually got me one. And it turns out it just doesn't fit my body type. Like, I was always this body type. Mm-hmm. And a little more muscular. My shoulders are broad. My hips are broad. Like, my legs are bigger. Like, so it just, they never fit.
Which already, like, makes you feel worse.
Yeah.
Because now
Why
you can't
like
even,
her?
Right.
Which
like, I
should
can't
never
even
be the thought
fit.
process. But
no.
I don't know how old you are in middle school, but
12,
yeah,
11,
that's
12 years old.
World.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was just like, I don't feel adequate enough to be around these people because look at what all they're wearing and I'm the only one not wearing it. And then I also realized the judgment that came with me not already looking like them. Mm-hmm. I went from a school where there was 95% minorities. And then I go into a school where there's 95% non-minorities.
Right.
And I never experienced that because I was always in a world that was inclusive for me because down the street, more people look like me. Over there, more people look like me and my cousin. And you look like my grandma and da-da-da. It was also beneficial, but not beneficial.
So innocent.
Right? I didn't know. And
you did not see the racism in the world. I love it.
What a wonderful world, though, that was. Right. To not have to really see that. And I remember being like, I would walk around, and it was my hair that really made me upset. Mm-hmm. Because when, I have very Spanish hair. This is not my natural hair.
I heard that's actually, like the first thing that a lot of people, like women, realize, especially as a minority, is the hair. Yeah.
And it's sad because you can't obviously control the type of hair you're born with.
Right.
But I do remember it being hard for, like, my mom to manage as a kid. So my mom is 100% Puerto Rican as well, and so is my dad. But my mom had thinner hair and, like, straighter hair. Okay. So she could wash it and, like, let it air dry, and it would look fine. Like, she doesn't look crazy. I can't do that. I can't let it air dry. Some people are like, yeah, let it air dry. I'm like, if I ever let my hair air dry,
it's a frizz.
Y'all be scared. Like, because it's just huge and nappy and everything. And I get it from my dad's side. So when I saw everyone straighten their hair, everyone, it was like pin straight, the whole
keratin treatment,
literally, like flat iron over flat iron over flat iron, even though they already had pin straight hair.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, and I didn't have that. Mm-hmm. And I never straightened my hair up until that point. And then I asked my mom if I could straighten my hair. And she was like, okay, like, sure. I guess she didn't understand, like, why, but that was why. And no matter how, and obviously I do it better now, because we had many years of practice.
Yes.
But at the time, it looked crazy. It was like big and it was straight, but like big and poofy.
Right. And
I would get so insecure because everyone else had pin straight hair. And I'm like, well, why doesn't my hair do that? I never I understood, but I would get frustrated by it. And then I went to a pool party, and I was terrified to let I would go in the pool, but I would never get my hair wet. Mm-hmm. And I can't expect that group to understand because they don't have the same type of hair. So to them, it's very innocent. They were just like, come on, like, just jump in. It's fine.
Do a little playful splash.
Yeah, yes. And they would do that. Like, I don't know if they were trying to be mean or not. There were some mean girls that, as I got older, I'm like, oh, she was a bitch. Like, she was just trying to be mean, not, like, friendly.
Right.
And they would be like, come on, just jump in, da da da. And they would do the whole splashing thing, and I would literally get so scared that like I felt like I was the Wicked Witch of the West. Like if water touched me, I was gonna melt away.
All your hair was gonna fall off.
Yeah. And obviously that wasn't the case, but that's how I felt. And I never wanted to go to pool parties. I never wanted to like be involved into something where my hair may get wet or whatever it may be, because I didn't know how to manage it. I didn't bring my comb, I didn't bring my gel, like my mousse, which would be all the things that I could use to manage it.
Yeah.
But things like that, I feel like not made me who I am today, but I think I had to go through that because as I grew older, I could manage those things better, where I didn't care about what I wore much.
That's more of like insecurities.
Yeah. And then being like, so like you're never insecure because you don't know about XYZ. And then you're put in a position where you see XYZ and you're like, wait, is it me?
Right.
Like, am I the weird one? And just like, it was just like, I think that was more traumatizing to me. No one really said anything to like my face or. That was a lot of thunder.
Thunder buddies.
You can suck my dick because you're just God's fart. I love that movie.
I fell asleep to it yesterday.
Really? It's your soothing movie.
Yeah, it was nice.
I wouldn't say like I didn't get made fun of or anything like that, which I was blessed enough for. But I think that culture shock was like a lot for me, because then I would question. I never thought I was poor, but when you
until you see the Abercrombie.
Well, yeah, and realize that shit ain't happening in my house.
Nuh-uh.
Or just like cultural things where my mom would make like a Spanish dish. Like we didn't make it all the time, like every night, or for example, in Puerto Rican culture, I think in other Spanish cultures too, but we, like a big celebration or a big something, you do a pig roast. Sorry to all the vegetarians and vegans. But you literally it's really good.
That sounds really good.
It's so good. I'm trying to convince my dad to do one before the wedding. Yeah. I don't really have to twist his arm much, but so you would literally buy a whole pig and you get it cleaned and everything. You can get it seasoned as well, but my mom will the women will typically season it. And it's like an 24-hour thing. Like you low and slow. Someone always has to be watching it, so you have like a night crew, a night shift.
A night pig watcher.
Literally. And it's like a thing for the men. Like the women will go ahead and will season it, and like you cut slits, you put garlic cloves, like it's so good. And then it's in this contraption. And then you watch it, you flip it every so often, whatever. So my mom was like, oh, you can invite, like, people over. So this is normal for me. Like, this isn't weird out of the norm. So I'm like, oh, okay. And I let, like, one friend know. I let another friend. I think it was only, like, 3 or 4 people. But then when I told one of them, who up until that point was my friend, then after I was like, I don't think that person's my friend. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you're doing a what? And I'm like, a pig roast. She was like, you're literally going to roast a pig? And I was like, yeah. Because to me, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
You should have invited me.
And I know. Just have, everyone over. I know. It just was like, I didn't realize it until after. And she was like, I'll never forget it. She looked at me. She was like, I'm good. With the fucking hand.
All right.
And I looked at her and I was like, okay.
I'll just not invite you.
Yeah. It was okay. And then I fucking walked away. And I remember being like, I'm going to punch her so far. I was so mad. But I think it was more things like that kind of traumatized me in a sense. Now I could give 2 shits.
Yes.
And I think it's also helped me become who I am today, especially with people who I surround myself with. Mm-hmm. Like I said in the podcast, like a couple podcasts ago, where those people I'm surrounded by now in my circle, they're all such great people and so accepting. And again, like if I ever need something, whatever, I need help, like, I know every single one of them would help me out.
Yeah.
And I don't think without seeing fake friends and seeing all that, I wouldn't have the same circle.
And it took a while to get to that point. Like, I probably, to like my junior, senior year of college is like when I really realized like who my group of friends really are. Like, there were moments in, like, you know, freshman year of college where like I had friends that like I thought would be, you know,
Your
long-term
people.
friends. Yeah, my people, but it just ended up not working out because you see through their insecurities and like their issues, and then they're using those issues against you, and you're just like, I don't need this.
No,
like, this is not my
it's
problem.
literally
like,
not my problem. It's your problem.
Yeah, but no, that sucks. That traumatizing moments. Like, I've definitely gone through that switch of the going from Staten Island to New Jersey, like completely different education systems. And then I went to a private, I went to a Montessori school, going to a public school. So it's kind of similar to I didn't have to wear a uniform, but like we were still like unison.
Yeah.
We knew everybody. Like, we were very close and open-minded. Like, it was a huge diversity in our class. But it was also like we weren't like a classroom setting. Like, you would sit on the red line and like read a book, and like we were just, they were very open. And then you go to a public school where you have a sign desk, a sign locker, like like you have the whole schedule like right here. You have like, we didn't have homework at Montessori, so like I started getting homework. Like, I was like, what is this? So like I did terrible my first like 3 years in New Jersey. Like, I was not, because it was just like very hard to adapt to this new school lifestyle.
They don't understand, and I feel like there should be something implemented, taking someone from a 180 type of place to the opposite,
right,
to adjust.
But there wasn't. There isn't anything. And the teacher, like, luckily, like, my teachers, for the most part, were nice and understanding. But like there were moments where like I had notes go, like they give me notes to give to my parents saying like Emily's failing, or like she hasn't handed in like the past 10 homework assignments, and I would literally just like sign it for my mom and then hand it back. I was like 8 years old, so it obviously does not look like my mom's signature. And my mom to this day still has that paper in my folder. There's like the Emily folder, so it's like literally from like preschool to like probably like 7th grade or 8th grade. Like, it's just like all these documents. Yeah. And one of them is like me signing off, like saying I've missed homework, but I was like, fuck you. Basically, I was just like, fuck you to the teacher. I am not giving this to my parents. Yeah. But like there was definitely like a hard transition into that. And then I saw it like in my classmates, my new classmates. Yeah, I'd made friends here and there. There was one moment, so like living on Staten Island, like I was friends with all my neighbors. Like, that was we are a community.
That
like,
isn't the norm.
That was a very normal thing. Like, we were like the neighborhood kids. Like, we hung out all together. Like, you would just knock on the door unexpected. Yeah. And now going into this new school, I never took a bus before. I had to go on a bus stop. Now there's all these other kids at this bus stop.
And you're like, oh my God, there's so many of you. Where were you?
Right. And there's this one kid that literally lived like across the street, like 2 houses down, and in my head I'm just like, I have to be friends with my neighbors. Like, that's just like rule in my head. I need to be friends with my neighbors. And I introduced myself to him, and I just don't think, like, I was too young to realize, but like I think I was just like being over presumptuous.
Yeah, you were eager to make friends.
And then so like he just like kept going around saying like I'm a weirdo, because I kept saying like I'm your neighbor. So he probably thought like I had special needs. But it was just like me, that was my interaction of like trying to be like, well, you should be my friend because we're neighbors. Because but he wouldn't get that, and but that was my norm. Yes. So it was weird. So eventually I did find like the people that I did want to hang out with in the neighborhood. But it was just like, that was just like a traumatizing moment, because now like this kid that's obviously been here that knows everybody else in the schools, that grew up with all these kids, is now going around saying like she's a weirdo, and now it's even harder for me to make friends because I say I live down the street from you, I'm the weirdo. Yeah. So that was a bit traumatizing, and you had to like learn through your curves. I definitely have gone through, personal appearances. I've gone through, like what's trendy in school, and having those heart setbacks of like, like my parents can't afford this. Like, I need to figure out another way to mask over this trend that's going on in school to make me feel better. And my mom tried doing those things too. Like, we talked about the little Uggs and the bear claws. My mom, like, the North Face was like a big thing, and my mom got me a North Face, but it was like not the jacket at all of what I wanted. But it's like the thoughts, like at the moment, like I was like appreciative but unappreciative at the same time, because it wasn't what I was expecting wanted, but it's just like her way of like, this is the best I can do. Yeah. So I definitely appreciate it now more than I did in the moment, and I wish I recognized that at a young age too.
We don't have that capacity to do so at
and
that
it's just
time.
It sucks not having it, because I wish, like, if I had the mindset now that I did in middle school, I would be the fucking ruler. Yeah, like I would rule that school. But I've had traumatizing moments where it was high school. Do you remember the DARE program, like you went through in elementary school?
Yeah,
middle
the
school?
Tiger.
There was the
lion.
Tiger?
He was the mascot.
DARE has a mascot?
Yeah.
We just had an officer come to our school.
DARE.
Oh.
He's a tiger, a lion.
Huh.
Darren the lion.
That actually does sound familiar. We never had a... He's giving me Johnny Bravo, but in a lion costume.
Oh my god, yes. It's the,
right?
It's the build and the
it's
black
Johnny
shirt.
Bravo in a lion costume.
That's so funny.
He just needs those black glasses.
Yeah.
But so I was part of this DARE program in high school, where you would go to the middle school and you would educate them on specific drugs that were happening, like, in our local area or whatever. Yeah. So it was just like a group of people, and we're going through like each classroom. We go to my middle school I went to. In the middle of the class, we start presenting, and I get lightheaded, and the start of like me getting lightheaded, like this was a normal thing at one point, but I was like now recognizing the symptoms of like, I'm getting lightheaded. So I realized it. So I went and touched the chalkboard behind me, and I looked down, and my girl next to me was like, "You okay? You look white." And then out of nowhere, I just like, my eyes went white and I passed out. But when you faint, you could still hear things around you. It's just like your body can't move, like it's hard for you to talk, but I'm aware of what's happening around me, and all I hear is, "And this is why you don't do drugs." Like, someone used me as like, that is so embarrassing.
When it wasn't that at all.
But yet there was no teacher, no student, nothing that was like, that like urgently got to me and was like, "Are you okay?" They just made me sit outside of the classroom. Like, "You're not going to take me to the nurse." Like, just so neglectful that a fucking student passed out in your class, and you're just going to give her like a juice box and have her sit on a chair. Like, not like call my parents. You're not going to, like, no, there was no protocol
ridiculous
whatsoever. And then my classmates are using me as an example to not do drugs, when you're like, she just probably needs a glass of water or like some crackers to eat.
Or let's say, God forbid, you had a medical condition.
Right. No sympathy, nothing.
Sense of urgency.
A student passed out in front of a class during a tour that like, we're not even supposed to be there, but like it was just like very, very, very not.
It was traumatizing.
It was very traumatizing. Yeah. It was not okay. It was just not a good situation. No, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it was just like, and that traumatized me. That like having these classmates next to me, and then we go back to school, and then like, "Oh, how was everybody?" It was like, "Oh, Emily passed out because she does drugs."
Yeah, that's like, then by the fifth person it gets to, it's something crazy that you did, like the game of telephone.
Yes,
it's just not.
It's like, "Oh my god, did you see Emily do cocaine in the back of the dumpster, like over by the bus stop?"
She jumps out of planes, and also like it's just ridiculous.
That would be cooler than passing out fucking in a classroom. How lame is that?
Speaking of passing out, you just like triggered the next memory. In 8th grade, I will never forget, in my science class, Mrs. Elliott. I don't remember any other teacher except for her because of this incident. And you have the labs in the back, like the stools with like the table and everything.
Yeah, the black countertops.
Yeah. So like, I'm sitting next to my lab partner. We weren't friends, but like, I was never friends with like a group of, like, I just was friends with everyone who was cool.
Yeah. No, I was the same way.
And that was one of the the girls. So we're going over our like hypothesis and like experience, all the little whatever you call those things.
Your scientific method.
Yes. And like, I'm reading it and she's not responding, and I'm like, I look at her, I'm like, we'll call her Jane. I'm like, Jane. And she's like staring dead at me, like into my soul. Like I knew nothing was, like she wasn't here, but like she's like locked in. And I'm like, what the hell? And since they're stools, there's no back to them. And all of a sudden she's just staring at me. But as she's going down, her eyes are still locked on my eyes. So like I see, like we're making eye contact as she's about to hit the floor. And those are decently high stools. Yeah. She hits the floor and she starts seizing like bad. Oh my God. And that was the first time I've ever seen someone in person have a seizure. And I remember looking at her, and my instinct is to like, you know, get up immediately, and I couldn't. My body like froze. It was
watching somebody
pulsate. Yeah, and I've never seen, like, I didn't know she was dying. I didn't know.
Yeah. And you don't want to touch that body.
No, I'm literally like I remember trying to move, and I just wasn't moving until the teacher was like, obviously saw, and she came over, and it kind of like, it was like the movies where like they zone out for a second and then someone interrupts and it's like, and now they're back into like the scene. Mm-hmm. It felt like that. And the teacher came and she was like, all right, everyone move. We moved all the, you know, you have to move everything out of sight. I mean, out of their way, so they don't hit anything or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then she just was like, everyone out the classroom. So, you know, she called whatever, and we were waiting outside there, and then they just rolled her out. She was cohesive at this point. You can tell she was very, very embarrassed. Mm-hmm. She was so red. Like, I mean, it could have been from that as well. But, like, I would be very embarrassed.
Still
like,
very embarrassing.
And you're young. Yes. You're in 8th grade. And I don't think anyone said anything. But I remember just, like, I'll never forget that. I remember going home and telling my mom. And you almost, like, not to say the teacher did anything wrong. But if I were the teacher and we all went back into classroom to just now start the class again, mm-hmm. I would make sure, like, is everyone okay? Right. So did anyone have any questions?
See, the mental health was not a thing. It was not a thing. It was like, okay, let's get back to this.
Yeah, I remember, like, going back to my
like, this is not the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
like, let's talk about things. Like what's happening?
I remember going back, and I didn't have a partner, because she was my partner, mm-hmm. and I just was, like, staring at the paper, and I'm, like, looking at everyone else, like,
is everyone else good?
Yeah, like, I'm not good. My heart was racing so fast.
Am I next?
Yeah, like, I was just like, oh my God.
No, that's terrifying, like, watching somebody.
And I'll never, like, not that I categorize
at least you
her.
were a good classmate, and you were just like, like.
Well, yeah, this
like,
is why you don't do drugs.
Yeah, like,
that's
terrible.
I will say, though, for the rest of our school career, like, she went to the same high school as well. Mm-hmm. We never spoke to each other in high school, but I remember I would see her, and it literally would take me back to that day. I would never say anything or, like, do whatever, but I would just be like,
you good?
Damn, she caused me some trauma. Yeah. She don't know it, but I was so scared. It was the eyes that, like, killed me. Mm-hmm. Her eyes weren't moving
glass
the entire time. Like, she went down, she was staring at me, and I'm like, whoa, my God.
She was probably, like, in her head, like, I wonder if she was, like, saying your name, you know, like, trying to get your attention,
or like, help.
Yeah, like, something's happening, but you were just, like, frozen in place too, because you were just like, is she about to, like, eat my face? Like, zombie apocalypse is coming.
Yeah, Walking Dead. Yeah, that was.
No, it's traumatizing. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Like, there's so many. Like, there's stupid things I did that, like, put myself in situations. So when we'll do one last story, and then we'll do our Q&A, because we're over an hour.
Time flies.
It does. Oh, I guess we still have, like, a half hour. I forgot we got here like 2:30. Mm-hmm. So it's not really, like, traumatizing. To an extent, it was. So when I moved to New Jersey, there was this kid in my class that I had a crush on, and I had a boyfriend, mm-hmm. In Staten Island. But now this is 5th grade. You know, I'm not really friends with my friends on Staten Island. I haven't talked to them in a while. Now I finally have, like, a crush on somebody in this school, and he was, like, nice to me, like, talking and stuff. So he was, like, a nice guy, and we would go to Disney a lot as a family, and my mom's favorite ride is the Pirates of the Caribbean. And at one point,
That's my favorite ride.
It's probably one of the best rides.
Yes, I went on that shit easily 15 times.
No, we were like on
That's
it, like
so
row,
funny.
like row after
In
row
my head,
after
I'm
row.
like, if she says the Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, favorite. So like at the very end, I don't think they do it anymore, but they used to sell pirate guns at the end.
Now probably not.
I don't think they do, but they used to have like a weaponry of pirate guns, and
Arsenal,
my parents
plastic.
bought a couple of guns, and we brought them home, and I have this crush on this kid, and I know that these guns are in the basement. Don't know what's going through Emily's head, but I'm bringing a gun to school. And I literally put so this gun, it has like an orange cap, like it's obviously a toy gun, but it literally looks like, I'm like,
oh.
So I bring a gun to school in my backpack, and these is like, you have your desk, but then you have like the long cubbies at the back of the classroom.
Oh yeah.
And everybody just like hangs their backpack in their little designated area. So there's like free time in the classroom, and I go up to him and I'm just like, hey, you want to see something?
We need to talk to this kid. He's probably traumatized that he brought a gun to school.
I'm about to cry. It's so funny. I haven't even told this story in such a long time either. So a lot of things opening up. So I show him. I'm just like, look at this.
That's how you presented it.
Look
what I got.
I keep it. I keep it in the backpack. I'm like, we'll play with this later. So then,
she thought she was so cool.
So then he goes to the teacher immediately and says, Emily has a gun in her backpack. So then I get taken out of the classroom and go to the principal office, and I'm literally in the principal office all day until my dad comes, because my dad's at work. So now my dad comes to the office, and the principal was like, I didn't know how to say this over the phone, so that's why I wanted you to come here, but like your daughter brought a gun to school. And my dad's like, we don't own a gun. Like where would she get a gun? I'm fucking 9 years old. And he pulled the principal, I think his name was like Dr. B, like whatever.
He knew that it was plastic though?
It had an orange tip on the gun. Like so
he should have said she brought a
a toy gun, but no, it was just a gun. So he pulls out the gun, and my dad's like, "Oh, from Pirates of the Caribbean." I'm like, okay.
The principal's like,
it was,
sir.
But I didn't know. But I also don't know if that kid went around too saying like this girl brought a gun into class. I should probably talk to him and see how he's doing.
Right? I apologize if I've ever caused you any dramatic.
But it wasn't like, it didn't like, it just like made like a noise.
Yeah.
But it was just like, that was a very traumatizing moment, because I didn't realize.
You're like all the innocence, and you're like, oh, what do you mean?
For real. It was so innocent.
A toy.
I just brought a toy. Bang, bang. You're dead.
No, really. We need to find out if this kid's okay.
Phil, are you out there?
Phil. She's sorry.
I don't have a crush on you anymore.
She just wants to make sure you're mentally okay.
Yeah, no, he's good. I think he's engaged. He's like happily.
Hopefully, he's having guns in the house. Sorry, Phil.
No, but it was just traumatizing.
That's
definitely
funny, though.
I did that on myself. That was more on a.
Yeah.
But I thought that was like a funny story.
Oh, school.
Man, I missed that gun too. I was so upset when my dad was like, just throw the gun out. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, that was that gun.
He's like, no.
I'm like, I'm not a gun. Like, I am so uncomfortable with guns too.
Yeah,
like,
and then you were just like
bang, bang.
Yeah.
Traumatizing moments in school. Gotta love them. Even though I'm the one that might have traumatized somebody.
Yeah.
So our deep Q&A, we're going to move into what is time. I think that's like a very...
It's a complex
It is. I was going to say a very complex.
Yes.
Very complex topic. Very open. And could mean anything, really. Like
it literally can mean anything.
It can mean anything. So there is essentially like no such thing as time. It's something that we've kind of made up. So I think there's 3 different types of time, depending on how you look at it. I did write them down. So what would be like, there is no time, it's just the present. So it's just whatever you're doing day to day, like that is the time that you're in. You're not conceptualizing, okay, it's 12:30, I need to do this. No, you're in the moment, that's your time.
Yeah.
There is no numbers involved. There's no daylight savings, nothing. Like just your present moment. And then there is clock time, which is pretty much what all of society abides by.
Yeah.
That is, you know, like gotta wake up.
9 to 5.
You gotta go to your 9 to 5. Waking up at 8.
Appointments.
You know, go to gym. Like everything is on a schedule within your time limit. And obviously, you know, that correlates with the sun rising and sun setting. Then there is psychological time, a sense of perceived time, but it can be a false sense of reality that is connected to the past and future. So we've kind of slowly talked about this in other episodes where you get stuck in either a past situation or a future situation and you're not living that present moment, which is no time. So you're going back and conceptualizing either something that did happen
Or hasn't.
Or hasn't happened. So that's your way of thinking. And a lot of people live in those moments of time, but yet you're not living in that present time, which is really
right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's
then
like that one really makes you think.
Right. And then there is, so an example that I wrote down was, I don't have enough time. A lot of people say this as like a reason because we live on that clock time. We're on that regimen, that schedule. There seems to be like there's not enough time in the day to get everything done. But essentially, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's you make your time. It's not, you don't follow time, if that makes sense.
Deep.
It is. It's a very deep dive thinking process of how you want to utilize your time.
Yes. Agreed. It's hard for me to because time, I talk about this with my brother too, because he's really big into like time and then time space continuum and like all this stuff. And when he goes on that, and I'm like, what?
I'd love to talk to him.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay.
You know, that my brother loves listening to like him on his podcasts, and it's like 3 hours long talking about time and space and how there really isn't anything there, and like it's very hard to understand, but I feel like if you just put it as basic as it could be,
it makes sense.
If you're thinking about time and you can't really get that out of your head, I always say, because it was very hard for me to I understood it, but to understand it in my brain was a whole different thing. It was very hard for me to understand, like, what do you mean time isn't real? Because, like, you're probably thinking that too.
It's
you're
a
probably
conceptualized idea.
4:17, but, like, that is a rule, I would call it, for lack of a better word, that was placed in our society. That's it.
That's it.
Because if we didn't have clocks and time and whatever, you'd be like, all right, what are we doing right now? Like, right now is right now.
Right.
So,
living in the present.
Yeah. So instead of thinking about how you're running off time, almost think about it as the opposite way. Like, there's all this time in the day, and then it's there for you to do
what you please.
Whatever you please. It doesn't have to be, there's no 9 o'clock, you're just doing. That makes sense. It's very hard to.
No, it doesn't. It does make sense. There's I guess like a scientific way of looking at time, and it says that time runs on a linear passage, and there are times that that correlate back and forth on each other depending on where you are in the world. But regardless where you are, time is still in a linear path, and you can't go back. There's always just the forward motion. You're either in the present or you're just moving into the forward time. And it's interesting to take back and look at what we have and how we use our time. Because, like, are you using time in a productive way, or are you using time in a societal way of just making sure you're filling up your day with whatever nonsense you're going through? Yeah. Or are you using the time to make you happy?
Very true. Like, my now boss, Matt, he doesn't talk about time, but he has a very strict early morning routine. And he does get up at literally the ass crack of dawn. Like, he'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning to start his day. A little extreme. Don't recommend that for everyone. I need to sleep. And he has 2 kids.
The sun's not even up.
No. But what he does, he's like, we have so much available opportunity in the day to seize everything you want. Mm-hmm. It is also a matter of what you're willing to sacrifice for.
Right.
3 o'clock is a little early. But besides the point.
He's sacrificing
it works for
sleep. That's what
fact. And his poor little boy is getting his molars in. Like, he's a little baby. So, like, sleep is now even less because he's waking up every night. But anyway. But yeah, he's like, I don't really run. I think it was something like that. Like, not that he doesn't run off time, but he's like, when I get up, I do this, I do this, I do this, and it sets my day up. Mm-hmm. I know what my day is going to be like because I have already said I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's not by time.
Right.
It's like, I'm going to get this done.
It's by a mental mindset.
Yeah. He'll be like, I'll get my morning stretches in. I'm going to do my mindset work for the day. You set the mood for your day. That when you wake up, you have the power to do that.
Right.
It's not like, obviously there's going to be things that come up in your day that you can't control, but what you can control is how you approach it and your attitude towards it.
I love that.
So, and it's true, like, bad things can happen. That's not saying it won't. But there's always a way that you can react to it that's going to either benefit you or not.
Right.
So, like the weather. It's absolutely dog shit outside. And we just got soaked coming in here. Like, not that I'm that type of person that would, but, like, someone could be like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Like, I don't want to drive
grumpy.
in this.
Yeah.
Like, reschedule.
Like, yeah, like, that's just not an attitude.
Rain
No.
change your day.
But you have the drive. You're the driver, basically. You can determine how your day is going to go. Obstacles are obstacles. They're going to come anyway. And you should expect that. You shouldn't think that your days are going to be all rainbows and sunshine because nothing bad's going to happen.
Right.
It's not life.
No.
But
and don't blame time.
No.
Either.
Not at all. You can't be like, oh, this is the. Calm down.
Yeah.
How you react is literally how you're going to feel.
Mm-hmm.
If you even say like, oh, she made my day bad. No. You just chose that. So, yeah, I got off track.
There was it was The Rock. He was like, one day. What's
yes, it was on the.
What was it? One day is not today. Like, one day.
I'm gonna find that TikTok because I just favorited it.
What is that? It's so short too.
It makes
day one or one day.
Yes.
Right, or one day, day one. It's kind of
either day one. So you're gonna start. This is day one, or it's one day. So you're either gonna do it or you're just thinking about it.
Right.
Act upon it or think about it.
Right. Put it into place. Make an action for it.
I literally just saw that too. Wow.
Yeah, he posted that a while ago.
Did he? I saw it on TikTok, and it was just someone. I don't know what they were doing, but it was something that they've wanted to do. The caption had said that.
And was it like his voice?
It was his voice.
Yeah, he posted that on Instagram. Probably like a month ago.
I love that thought process because it's so
he should be
true.
president. I would love if The Rock became president.
He's so cool. Anyway.
Rock Johnson, president 2024.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. What? Can you smell what The Rock is good? I used to have a shirt. I was a very big WWF fan at the time. And he was my favorite wrestler. And I would have a shirt. And it literally, I wish I kept all these shirts because they'd be vintage now. Mm-hmm. And it says, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? And then his face, he always did that like eyebrow thing. He'd be like, yeah,
that's his signature. He does it in every movie. That's his signature.
I can't tell if it.
Yeah,
I don't have any
definitely
Botox,
doing
so
it.
it's definitely
You don't have both, so yes, it's definitely moving. But yeah, no, so time is just, it's a conceptualized thing. Just remember to always be in the present. How do you utilize your time? Is this something that like you're on a planner? This is like your schedule day to day? Are you one that controls your time? You wake up and you set your day to how you want it to be perceived for
the rest of the day. Yeah. You have that power. You are in 100% control of how your life, your day goes. Mm-hmm. And don't really blame that on others because it's not their doing, it's your doing.
And you're not the only one that is looking at time. Like, everyone's on a
Oh
time
my God.
schedule.
We
Like,
unfortunately run like that.
yes.
We're accustomed. We're born like that. You know, when you're in school, you have when you grow up and you have a bedtime and you have a feeding time and everything is, we're just born into it.
It is. It's our society.
Yeah. But you literally have the time to do anything.
Yeah.
You just have to make that.
Make it your own. But that concludes our episode
Cray.
of Guided by the Unconscious. If you have any opinions or solutions on the plastic ban or the straws, have you seen trend jacking around? Like, so we use the Barbie and GOT as an example. Like, what do you see in the future of trend jacking? Like, what do you think like next companies are going to do next? And then, what was your traumatizing moment in school?
I know we all have
one. We all have them.
At least one.
We need to share them because everyone's going through this. Like, your kids might be going through something that we went through, and you might want advice on like how to handle it. Because, if you like this topic, we'll keep going. We'll make a whole episode of us just talking about us being traumatized.
There's a lot of things.
Or me traumatizing a boy.
To leave a cliffhanger, there was a time where there was a hostage situation across the school for me, and I was in like first or second grade.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, crazy. So tune into that next episode.
Yeah. So if you want to hear that story,
SWAT and all.
Yes, you could contact us at gbtupodcast@gmail.com and make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share.
I think you covered all those.
Right.
Yep.
I'm getting used to this spiel. And then we get episodes out every other Sunday. So stay tuned. If you subscribe, I won't have to say that anymore.
If you subscribe, we won't have to say it anymore.
So that would be really great. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
That's fine.
A hostage situation.